ethnic diversity can negatively impact a state with many ethnic groups. Let's explore this assumption using the ethnic history of the Ottoman Empire as an example. The ancestors of the Ottoman Turks were a tribe that was a branch of the Oghuz Turks tribal confederation. In the 13th century, they migrated westward into Anatolia under the influence of the Mongol conquests. Their leader, Osman I, established the Ottoman Principality, also called Beylik, around 1299. This tribe, originally nomadic, engaged in raids but also assimilated people of various backgrounds, including some Byzantine and other local populations. The Ottoman Principality gradually expanded by incorporating other Turkish-speaking Muslim beyliks and non-Turkish Christian territories, fostering extensive ethnic interactions, which, in turn, contributed to the creation of the ethnic group Ottoman Turks. The earliest form of the Ottoman military was a steppe nomadic cavalry force. The Ottoman army had warriors, called Sipahi, who formed the backbone of the Ottoman cavalry and were exempt from paying taxes. In conquered territories, Sipahi was given a land grant, a fief, which was called timar. From the name timar, the Sipahis began to be called timariots. During the war, the timariot had to come to the army gathering place fully armed on his horse and bring equipped vassals in a number corresponding to the income from the timar. The Sipahis comprised most of the army and were paid regular troops. In addition, the Ottoman army had irregular light cavalry, also called akinji, and shock light cavalry deli. The need for a standing infantry became evident after the Ottomans expanded into Europe in 1352. The Janissary force was formed in the 14th century during the rule of Murad I. These elite infantry were recruited through the devshirme system, which took Christian boys from the Balkans aged roughly 8 to 18, converted them to Islam, and trained them as professional soldiers. They were forbidden to marry before age 40 and engaged in trade. Sultan Orhan encouraged scholars and religious figures to introduce the ideology of the Ghazi, or holy warrior ideology, which helped justify military expansion. This ideology allowed the Ottoman Turks to further expand the recruitment of people from other ethnic groups into their ranks, further expanding the ethnic interactions of the Ottoman Turks. In 1325, the Ottoman Navy was created after annexing territories with an expansive coastline on the Mediterranean Sea. The Navy recruited adventurers and pirates regardless of nationality. The empire reached its apex under Suleiman the Magnificent in the 16th century, when it stretched from the Persian Gulf in the east to Algeria in the west and from Yemen in the south to Hungary and parts of Ukraine in the north. The policy of naval recruitment and imperial annexation further expanded ethnic interaction. Beginning in the 18th century, the Ottoman Empire began to lose territory due to military and economic stagnation, including military defeats and corruption. The Ottoman Empire's army started to lag in technical re-equipment, and wars became increasingly unsuccessful. The Janissary Corps, once an elite force, became increasingly independent and rebellious by the 17th century, obstructing reforms and interfering in palace politics. In fact, the Janissary Corps contributed to the internal decline and weakening of the empire's military effectiveness. After another Janissary rebellion, Sultan Mahmud II forcibly disbanded the Janissaries in 1826 during the so-called Auspicious Incident. In 1830, Greece gained independence after the Greek War of Independence, which lasted over 9.5 years. tax farming, burdensome levies, and competition from European industrialization exacerbated the empire's economic difficulties. The empire's liberal trade policies and foreign economic influence led to deindustrialization in key sectors. The Ottoman Empire took its first foreign loan in 1854 to finance its participation in the Crimean War. By 1875, mounting debts led to financial default, and in 1881, the Ottoman Public Debt Administration, abbreviated OPDA, was established to manage state finances, granting foreign creditors control over key revenues. The decision to increase taxes to pay the Ottoman Empire's debts to foreign creditors outraged the Balkan provinces, culminating in the Great Eastern Crisis between 1875 and 1878. This crisis resulted in independence for the Christian nations in the empire's Balkan territories. Another result of the crisis was the Russian Empire's annexation of territories due to defeats in the Russo-Turkish War between 1877 and 1878 and the transfer of Cyprus to the British administration. By the end of 1914, the Ottoman Empire had lost all its African and European territories, except Constantinople and its immediate environs. The empire's alliance with Germany in World War I led to its defeat and eventual partition. The occupation of Istanbul and Izmir by Allied forces catalyzed the Turkish War of Independence from 1919 to 1923, which resulted in the establishment of the Republic of Turkey in 1923. In 1922, the Ottoman Empire was officially abolished, and the last Sultan, Mehmed VI, left Constantinople on the British battleship Malaya. The Ottoman Turks ethnic group was created based on the Turkish language and had a wide ethnic diversity. The unifying factors of the Ottoman ethnic group were military or civil service, political citizenship, and the obligatory acceptance of Islam. During successful military campaigns, the Ottomans captured many women who became their wives or concubines. These women gave birth to children from Turkic fathers but raised them according to the mentality of their ethnic group. The ethnic group of Ottoman Turks, based on the valiant Oghuz Turks tribe who created the Ottoman Empire, was gradually diluted by accepted non-Turkic people. Adventurers and renegade hypocrites, who came to the empire for high income, Janissaries, and children born and raised by non-Turkish mothers, took part in the dilution of the ethnic group. Although the decline of the Ottoman Empire was due, among other things, to political, economic and military disasters, it can be assumed that these disasters were a consequence of the ethnic diversity of the Ottoman Turks. The concept of Ottomanism, which attempted to stop the empire's collapse by uniting its peoples, failed to overcome the basic principle of ethnicity as perception of common characteristics that distinguish them from other groups. Only the Turks, who lived far from interethnic contacts with non-Turks, saved the Turkish state, led by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk.